This island is empty. But I'm gonna fix that by building an entirely new village, complete with a bustling marketplace, sure to make this place feel alive. I'm going to be trying to fix up the island completely and not fix up, but finish the island. Build a couple more houses like this, maybe make this campfire fit in more, a couple more farms, and just generally make this feel like it is an occupied island. Oh, also I need to clean these up. I've just done the very basics of tidying up around here. There's now a decent little path. I need to put some grass in. And also the boat bridge is gone, which is nice. I will not complain about that. You probably saw the stone squares at the beginning of the intro. And these are my ideas for where to put the rest of the town that I'm planning to build here. These are probably all going to get removed. They're just planning. I'm thinking this one also has a dock extending over here. Some kind of like fisherman's house. This one is the closest to the farm, so I might try to add some details to imply that it belongs to the farmer. I don't know what to put over here, apart from the fact that there's wide area of grass, so maybe like a shepherd, or I have more stuff inside and have... Oh, I could do a cartographer, have a cartography table and random maps. And then over here... Ugh, this is gonna be a tricky one. What villager professions are there? Oh, I have a lot of books from that library, so, and also I have sugarcane, so I could probably do a librarian. I'm gonna get started on the first, I think the librarian house first. And the first house is done. Wow. So since the end of the time lapse, I added in, I think, just the texturing, the market stall outside, and the interior. I did a simple little interior. And I'd like to think that the librarian is probably selling books because, I don't know, they're probably expensive, is the theory I'm going with. Well, of course they're expensive. I'm assuming this is pre-printing press. And even post-printing press books still would have been expensive, but okay, I'm nerding out. But the librarian is selling books instead of just exchanging books, or maybe the librarian is selling like a library card and this is where you go to get books. I don't know, but it's a theory. So I've been getting ready to build the next house, and I'm realizing that I'm slightly running out of oak, so I'm gonna go chop some of that down. I've gathered quite a bit more wood, like a whole nother stack. And I think I want to do an apothecary next, outside of the context of fantasy. An apothecary was like an actual place where you would get your medicine back before modern medicine. And they basically just had herbs. Let me actually fact check myself right here. Okay, so an apothecary is not actually a store, but a person. A medical professional who formulates and dispenses medicine to physicians. Oh, okay, so it's somebody who sells medicine. So the apothecary building is done. That is actually very weird. I thought that would be a cool intro since I accidentally triggered that. I actually completely forgot I was intending on doing something up here in the front. I don't know what though. Just a little patch of berries, I guess. That's cool, I guess. So in here, pretty basic. Bed. Oh, I didn't put a torch down. Bed, crafting table, something to store all the things, and a brewing stand to make the medicine. And in the back is actually the exciting part. This is the herb garden, I guess. Beetroots, carrots, potatoes, sweet berries, sunflowers, leaves, wildflowers, bushes, and just some random stuff I found. And I really love this. It really occupies the space so well. Next up on my house tour, well, island fixation, well, island fixing, I need a storage room, like, really badly. So I'm thinking if this one is the fisherman's house, and I want this one to be the farmer's house, I can probably just have storage in one of these because I don't want anything dedicated to just being storage because I think that would just look weird. So it really depends on which one has more room inside. I think I'm just going to build the two of them and then handle the interior. And it's done. So this one is extremely wonky. I'm not entirely sure if I'm sold. Oh. On it yet. It just doesn't fit in. I'm thinking I'm going to swap out the roof for this one. So if you haven't guessed by now, all of my builds in this world so far, have just been done by hand, free-handed, like, the second I am like, ooh, I have an idea. So, like, this build, this was redone, like, 3 times before I could settle on a roof shape that I'm happy with. No, I'll work it out. So I fixed the farmer's house, I guess. I haven't actually added any details that would make it seem in any way to belong to a farmer. That's better, I guess. I just made it a slanted roof and then repeated that concept along the slant. And then in the inside, I experimented with having storage in here and it just didn't work. So I do not think that this will be a working storage room. However, I am considering maybe, just maybe, the reason I am running out of storage already is because I just cannot, like, find anything I need. It's just so unorganized, so messy. I think I'll try that first. So I really like the wonkiness of this house because, like, it's not perfect. So the concept I've been using to decorate some of these overgrown parts of my world is just flowers, sweet berry bushes, and plenty of grass. So I like what I really did over here with the little, like, farm plot. So I want to see if I can put that in other places because I have, this is kind of the prototype. So I decorated along here, just like throwing down leaf litter, and because I just don't like the grass color over here, just sort of random flowers and leaf litter and bushes and sweet berry bushes. And I actually did grab some firefly bushes, so I might try mixing some in here. I don't want this to just be completely overpowered by, like, it is a lot of plants over here, so I'm beginning to think maybe this just might be a little too much. I haven't really done anything over here. I now have the pumpkins to make this feel somewhat farm-like. So I think this is fine as it is. I haven't really done much back here. Actually, no, this is the very initial, like, overgrown gardening area. My starter farm. Oh, the plaques. Okay, so to explain the plaques, this was back during this is going to be a two-person world idea, because like this happened like maybe the day after I uploaded. There's a plaque in here which you might have seen. The cottage. It initially said Shrubs Cottage, but now that there's nobody else who would be building a cottage, it's fine. The starter farm, and I also have one over on Blue's Bridge. And this isn't, I didn't kick him out. It is because of scheduling that he can't. And I like mentioned it to him a couple times and he just said, I cannot do it. So I'm just going to keep on doing this. There is one final like area of this island that I don't have anything in. And I'm not quite sure what I put here because we have farms over there. So this is where the apothecary lives and where the apothecary makes their medicine. However, as I just had an idea of where would you buy the medicine? You would probably not just go, like, you could knock on their door. And there are other questions of how it is going to be five houses town needing a bookseller librarian place and also a place to get medicine. However, I'm thinking maybe I could have like a like somewhat markety area over here, because we have this, and then I could put like another stall over here, maybe like a third stall, because I'm thinking if there's some. Okay, so now that I have some of the materials that I'm going to need, I'm thinking, so we have the book stall. Maybe this is actually, and then presumably there should be some kind of apothecary stand. However, the farmer would probably also want a place to sell their wares. So I'm thinking I'm going to have to get some dye, because I want to differentiate. Okay, so I got my purple and yellow wool, so I'm thinking purple will be for the apothecary and yellow will be for the farmer. And the market area is finished for now. So in the apothecary, which I imagine as doing slightly more business and being slightly more rich, this is not a rich area of town, because the buildings, they're all meant to look like rundown and old, and so a very vibrant like strip of fabric, just to be very much like, yeah, this is here, this is like going with purple equals apothecary. Don't know why. We're in a mushroom, bottle of water meant to represent medicine or something, and a brewing stand. Also a crafting table, just for the convenience, really. And then over on the farmer side, I don't know if I want to add like one of those like strips of fabric above, because I don't have one for the librarian. However, the librarian also kind of has shade from the overhang of the roof. But the farmer has a wheelbarrow, a pumpkin, some hay, and it's just like very shared area. I'm going with their friends. These two, they are friends. So this still leaves a bland area back here, and I'm trying to detail this entire island. So I think I should add something here. However, I'm not quite sure what. The only thing I can think of is a farm for the apothecary to get some actual food. So I'm gonna see if I can work on that. Okay, so I think potatoes are, at least in a Minecraft sense, the best, like, option if you just have a little bit of land and you're trying to farm as much as possible. I am not a farmer. Well, duh. I do not know anything about farming in real life, apart from the fact that you can grow potatoes pretty well in cold areas. On to the final house. I don't think this is going to be a house, actually. I think this might... I don't know. I'll work it out. And that is the, well, I don't have the coarse dirt on top of this building yet, and I want to add something like over here, but I think I'm done. I actually think I want to have like a little shelf out here. So it might be a little bit of a convoluted idea, but assuming that I will eventually have like a boat out here. So the boat arrives here. The boat's goods come inside, across the very, the dock. I built this after the time lapse. Don't worry, you didn't miss anything. The very damaged dock, and inside here. So over here, the person who lives here, know where that has a little either shop or a little area where you can pick up the stuff you ordered. So I have a birch sapling, TNT, and just some random blank books. So then the townspeople would come here and either pick up their orders or buy stuff that they cannot make here, from this little nook. And over here, I'm actually going to move this. So that's my concept for this building. So then, one final thing for around here is I think I'm mostly done. Apart from the lighting, that's a different problem. I didn't plan this one through, so I'm just going to put a little berry patch, because I cannot be bothered to actually set up a farm back here. So then with that, this build I think is mostly, if not totally, done. And you know, I really love it. So some other things. This storage problem has become significantly worse since the beginning of this episode. Of so many, it's just all jam-packed and it's so random. However, copper update with the copper golems. So I want to see if I can somehow make this work with those. Okay, just one more copper ingot to smelt, and I think the copper golem would be able to reach up there. I'm not sure though. Then it's... Oh my god. The lightning rod isn't necessary, I guess. He's so adorable. So if I just dump some of my stuff in here, can he reach those? Wait, he can open doors! Okay, get back in there. Do you only work with chests? It might be only chests.